Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to start talking about Junior Firpo. And so according to Sport, Napoli want to sign Junior Firpo, the Italian club called Barcelona, to discuss what they want for the defender. So when we do talk about Junior Firpo, he has not been one of the most promising players at FC Barcelona. When he first started to play for Barcelona, we were expecting a Firpo that we saw at Real Betis, and that has not been the case. And the reason why we are going to start seeing reports of Firpo leaving FC Barcelona is because right now Jordi Alba is 31 years old, right? He is entering the twilight of his career, and when we do see a player getting old and we do have another player that is supposed to be that next player to replace that aging player, Firpo is supposed to be the one where we can say, okay, that's our next left back. But that hasn't been the case, and that has put Firpo on the spotlight, and then that is where we question Firpo and say, hey, where are the results? Why aren't you performing in the way that you're supposed to be performing? And because of that, because of everyone questioning Firpo, that is where the reports are made up, and the media is claiming that Firpo might leave FC Barcelona. Then we have another report coming from Sport claiming that Napoli have contacted FC Barcelona to see Firpo's situation, and according to them, Napoli have made him a priority, and Barcelona is demanding 20 million euros for Firpo. And when we are talking about his current market value, his value has stalled because it has not gone up or it has not come down. And Barcelona can look at this 20 million market value as a good thing or a bad thing, right? They can say, oh, it's even, his market value has not gone up, let's sell him and not lose money. Or they could look at this in a bad way and say, oh, it's even, we could have sold them for more. And then this is where things get very, very interesting, right? So according to Deo Sport, they have said that Napoli rule out wanting to sign Junior Firpo. They have taken him into account before Firpo signed with Barcelona, but they view it as impossible. Then we have a journalist who stated Inter Milan are not interested in Barcelona adding Firpo and or Semedo to the Lautaro Martinez operation. The Italian outfit referred to his 111 million euro release clause, and so Firpo is in the Italian territory. And based off these claims and these statements, neither Inter Milan or Napoli would want to get Firpo, because I believe these two clubs are looking at Firpo and saying, okay, his performances are not justifying his price tag, and they're going to ask, if Firpo cannot perform in the big stages, then why should we pay 20 million euros? And the reason why I believe that these two clubs have made these statements is because Napoli did have a chance to see Firpo in the UCL. Barcelona and Napoli did play recently, like about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and Firpo was in that starting 11. We have also encountered Inter Milan in the UCL about 3 to 4 months ago, and Firpo again was in that starting 11. So these two clubs did get a chance to see how Firpo performs in the big stage. And again, looking at these articles and reports and these statements, they have not been impressed. And in my opinion, when I am talking about Firpo, I believe that since Firpo is young, since he is only 23 years old, Barcelona should be willing to give him more chances and more time. Because if we look at his first season, right, even though this season hasn't been completed, if we look at his season so far, Firpo has basically been thrown into the starting 11. And the main reason why Firpo was thrown into the starting 11 is because Jordi Alba has been injured 3 times so far this season, and this season hasn't even ended yet. Jordi Alba has had back-to-back injuries, and he has missed a total of 12 matches, and the only player that was able to back him up was Junior Firpo. And so Barcelona did not even have the chance to use Junior Firpo slowly and put him maybe for about 20 minutes in the beginning of the season and then put him for about 60 minutes in the middle of the season. So Barcelona did not have the chance to slowly penetrate Junior Firpo into the game. They just had to throw him in there, and I believe that's the main reason why we see Firpo struggling 70% of the time. It is because he never had the chance to adjust. Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and excuse me for saying this name wrong, but I believe it is pronounced Kurzawa. So according to Sport, Barcelona negotiating the signing of Kurzawa at zero cost. The left back is on the transfer list in case Junior Firpo ends up leaving the team. And so when I read this article, this is simply another article trying to capitalize off of Firpo's potential exit from FC Barcelona. Because do you really think a player like him from PSG should be the player to switch for Junior Firpo? Because it would be the dumbest move to switch a player who is 27 years old and switch him with another player who is only 23 years old. The only thing that you are doing with this switch is aging Barcelona. And even though Kurzawa's contract does end this year, there is simply no benefit in this switch. Barcelona is looking to build their next left back, and signing a player like Kurzawa is like Barcelona shooting themselves in the foot. This move makes no sense. This article makes no sense, and so this statement from Sport is out the door. Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Ivan Rakitic. According to Marca, everything indicates that Rakitic will join Atletico in the summer. Atletico are looking for players who are out of contract or close to it in order to avoid huge transfer fees. Rakitic earns 8.5 million net per year. That's more than 16 Atletico players. Then we have another report coming from Mundo Deportivo that AC Milan are preparing an offer for Ivan Rakitic. The Croatian, who knows that Barca want to get rid of him, would prefer a move to Sevilla. So we have two reports suggesting two different clubs, AC Milan and Atletico Madrid. And the reason why we are seeing so many clubs trying to get Ivan Rakitic and why these reports are being made is because the board, the fans, and the media are expecting Ivan Rakitic to move away from FC Barcelona. Now, the biggest factor on why this transfer might be delayed is because of his wages. Neither Atletico Madrid or AC Milan would be willing to meet Ivan Rakitic's wages. And seeing what Rakitic earns every year, which is 8.5 million euros, I believe the only club that can afford Rakitic wages would be PSG. Like, yes, could we see AC Milan or Atletico Madrid try to compete for Rakitic's signature? Yes, but Ivan Rakitic is destined to go to PSG. And that's only if Rakitic is really demanding his yearly wage, which is 8.5 million. If he's willing to take a pay cut, then yeah, sure, he could go to Atletico Madrid or AC Milan. But if he's very strict on his yearly wage, PSG will be his destination. And PSG has been linked with Ivan Rakitic back in the summer of 2019, but things never went out PSG's way. Rakitic wanted to stay at FC Barcelona, but now seeing how Barcelona treated Ivan Rakitic this season, I believe Rakitic will go into the summer of 2020 with a different attitude, with a different approach, and saying, okay, let me listen to the offers. Who can afford my wages? And the only club that can do that will be PSG. PSG will come around and meet his requirements and get the deal done this summer. PSG is also a club that is looking to strengthen their midfield, and Ivan Rakitic could be that player for them. And we also have Nicolo Shira claim that AC Milan are not interested in Ivan Rakitic, nor are they in talks with FC Barcelona for that player. Now for the last topic of the day, I quickly want to talk about De Ligt. Now this has nothing to do with FC Barcelona, but De Ligt was rumored to go to FC Barcelona last year. And so I really do want to talk about this quickly because I believe this is going to be very interesting for you guys. And so according to ABC, Raiola wants to bring De Ligt to Real Madrid. The Dutch central defender has not adapted to the Italian football and wants to leave Juventus. So two things, right? One, Raiola will always and forever be motivated by money. Raiola is a football agent that would forever give a bad image to football, and he's not liked by many clubs. And I think that Real Madrid and Raiola do not have a good relationship, so it's funny to see that Raiola does want to move De Ligt to Real Madrid. And the second thing that I want to point out from this statement is that last sentence, right? I think that De Ligt wanting to move away from Juventus is completely false because there's no real factual actual data that De Ligt does want to move away from that Italian club. And De Ligt would not just quit Juventus like that. He's not that type of guy to do that. His character does show on the field that he's willing to always improve. He's willing to get better. And again, he's just not that type of player to say, hey, if things are not working out well here for me in the first year, I would just leave. De Ligt would never do that. And he is a player that will always be willing to give his best. We even have De Ligt's girlfriend's father say that he is happy. And he said this: aside from this being a tricky time, Anneke and De Ligt are really in love with Turin and Italy. This is their first real home together and they're not missing Amsterdam. They're so in love with Turin that they could stay for 5 to maybe 10 years. And so as of now, De Ligt's intentions is to stay at Juventus. I don't see De Ligt going to Real Madrid unless Real Madrid really comes with a big offer saying, hey, we'll pay X amount of dollars for De Ligt. But besides that, De Ligt is a player for Juventus and will be a player for them for the next 4 to 5 years. So thank you guys for watching. That is it for today's Barcelona Daily News, and I will see you guys in my next video.